Okay, hi everyone in SEMSBA Band. This is Mr. Kaminsky. I'm hoping to use something called Bandlab for education as a great tool for us, and I hope you'll find it useful. So you should get two emails from me in no particular order. One is from Bandlab and one will be from me. So we're looking at one of my Gmail accounts. You don't have to have a Gmail account. You can just have an email account that you've already sent me. So what you want to do is go into the one from me and then you just want to copy this code, Control C for me on my PC, and then you want to go to this one here from Bandlab. And when you click join, what you want to do is you're going to join a class, and you are going to click. By the way, if you get something about another screen in between these two, you can just hit continue on that one. I've already done it, making a couple of different versions of this video. Anyway, if you hit Control V or paste, that code will go in right there, and if you hit that, you'll actually join the group that is right there. And then there's only one assignment, and if you hit Start Assignment, just choose Teacher's Assignment, and what you'll see, and the reason why this is a relatively valuable tool, is that you'll be able to create whatever mix you'd like to hear in your ears while you are recording, while you're practicing, and you can do a couple other things with it as well. So the downside of it is that it can be a little slow and cranky sometimes. It's completely web-based. One thing to know about Bandlab is that it only works on Chromebooks and desktop computers. It does not work on your phone. Bandlab does, but Bandlab for Education, which is where this assignment is, does not work on your phone or tablet. I apologize for that. So it might not be right for you, but if you can get it working on a desktop or on a Chromebook, which a lot of students have these days, that would be great. And here's why, is that let's just say that you are one of the clarinets or a bassoon player, and what you can do is, first of all, do not use, this is the metronome right here, you're not going to use this. So this is what we've got. We've got a click track that you can make use of. We've got what I'm calling the publisher track, which is the recording that I've made available to you, and then an individual copy of each part. So if I just play everything right here, this is what's called a digital audio workstation, but it's web-based. So you have a lot of control over what you hear while you're working in it, and you can actually make recordings for me to listen to. Not the final one, because that will be a video, but what you can do for practice's sake is say this. If we just press play, we get this. Okay, so what we heard was we heard a click track, we heard the publisher track, so to speak, or the professional recording, and then we heard all these instruments. Let's just say that I play clarinet 1 and I'm in the upper division, because the clarinet 1 is split into two parts in and of itself. So what I can do is I can hit S for solo, and you'll notice that the M for mute gets engaged for all the other ones. So I could do just this. You get the idea. Now, that's not terribly useful. What if I want to hear it in the context of all the parts? What you can do, and what I recommend, is that you don't need to hit mute on anything, but you can solo more than one track. So now I've soloed the clarinet 1 upper and the publisher track. That's pretty useful, right? What if I want to hear that click track? Then we'll do that as well. Now I'll have the click, the publisher track, and my part. That's pretty useful. Let's just say that I want just the click and my part. I think you're starting to get the idea. So most people will want to do this to one degree or another. And then what if I think that click track is kind of useful? By the way, it's clicking eighth notes, and the quarter notes are a little bit louder, and the downbeat of every bar, no matter what the meter is even louder. The other thing to know is that the reason why you don't want to put this metronome on is that it's not actually a straight 150. It goes up and down. The BPM goes up and down throughout. So that's why there's a separate click track here. Let's say that the click track is somewhat useful, but a little annoying at its present volume. Well, we're going to take this slider and just bring it on down. Maybe I want to hear that just a little bit louder. And now we'll just do the, whoops, we'll just go back to the beginning. Maybe I want this to come down a little bit, and I really want my part to be super loud. I need a little bit more of the publisher track. And you get the idea, okay? So what you could do is once you find the mix that you like, on Friday, I'm going to ask you to make a recording for me to listen to so that I know what to tell clinicians to work on in their sectionals with you, and just to see how you're doing and to give you a chance to practice going through it. What you would do is, it says click here before record. You click here and you'll notice this lights up. Now it's armed for recording. You make sure that this is all the way at the beginning, and then if you click this, I'm just going to sing it, but then you click right here. Now again, you have to have a microphone on your Chromebook or hooked up to your PC or Mac desktop. So we would do this. Da 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 da. Oops. Da 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 da, and so on and so forth. And you notice, see, it recorded that. If I were to solo that and just listen to it. Da da. Oops. You get the idea. Now, if you record that and it's not in line with any of these, don't worry about that. I could show you how to fix that, but I'm not going to right now. The important thing is that on Friday night that you leave me something, if you're able to record, something to listen to, so I can check out your playing and to see how you're doing it. Okay, but we'll talk more about that on Friday, about how all that is going to work and how the final recording, which is going to be a video, is going to be, and how we're going to use this as a tool. Okay, so for right now, I'm just going to do that, and I'm going to go back to this. I'm going to say, oh, I forgot almost one thing. What if I had all this going on here? There's one last thing I forgot to tell you. Another thing that's very useful about this is, what if I want to slow this down a little bit while I'm recording? Well, I can take this BPM, even though it's not, the metronome here and the click track are not quite in sync with each other. What I can still do is type in a lower number if I wanted to go slower. So let's just say 130. I don't want it to go too much slower. If I click out here, it's going to ask me what I like to adjust, and say yes, I would like to adjust. What it'll do is it'll proportionally stretch everything out, including the the click track. So it takes a couple of seconds. You might be able to hear the fan on my computer. I don't know how much of this is actually happening in the cloud and how much is actually happening on my computer, but it's happening. There we go. All right, so watch this. So it sounds a little weird, but at least it slowed it down in case you need to work on any really tricky sections, and then you could always bump it back up. The other thing that you can do, and this is, I forgot about this as well, is that you could set up loops. So for example, these bar numbers are not going to line up with any of your bar numbers in Bandlab at all. So, the bar numbers on your piece of music. But what you could do is, let's just say I wanted to work on this section right here. I could click right in here and set up a loop, and then engage the loop. Just make sure this is lit up. And what happens is, okay, some of you might find that useful. A lot of you will skip over that entirely. But, and again, you can just shut it off when you don't want to loop anymore, or just click outside of the loop and continue with that. Okay. If you want to go back up to the regular tempo, just double click there, type 150, say yes, adjust, again, wait. Do know that the performance tempo on the resource recording that I gave you is around 150. It's not 160 as it says on the printed page. It's around 150. Sometimes it goes up to 152, 154 in a couple of spots, and sometimes it goes down to about 148. But it's around 150. So if you just want to do some old-fashioned practicing without any of this stuff, which I totally encourage, the point of this is to help you learn your stuff faster. It's especially for percussion, where the snare drum that I made is really bad. I'll tell you guys how I made this some other time. It's not, these are actually performances on electronic wind instruments, and it's me performing. It's actually not perfect. So for example, you'll hear 16th note runs that are kind of sloppy and things like that. I only had so much time to record this stuff. If you listen to the click track by itself, there's actually some hitches in it and things like that. But it's not perfect, but use it as a resource. If you want to know how your part goes, whether you're a brass player, you want to hear individual pitches, or you're a percussionist and you have to wait 30 bars before you come in and you want to make sure you're coming in the right spot, or anybody wants to know whether or not they're coming in the right spot and they like the reassurance of hearing their part against everything else, or just their part by themselves. Another thing that is valuable about Bandlab is you can check your intonation. Everything here is perfectly in tune, even if everything isn't totally rhythmically correct. And you could actually go to settings, and you can actually find the a tuner and use the tuner. All right, before you do anything. We'll talk more about that on Friday and a little bit on Saturday before I send you to do your final recordings. So that's our little tour of Bandlab. I hope that you do have the opportunity to make use of this resource, and I'm looking forward to seeing all of you. Take care.